Officer Jamber with Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, and I'm part of our K9 unit. And we're going to show you guys some really cool stuff today, so we're really glad you guys joined us. We've got some amazing canines that we're going to show you. One of them today right here is my partner, Deputy McBride. She's going to pull out. This is Canine Anubis, and he is a Belgian Malinois. So Deputy McBride's doing a little bit of toy play with them. You can see how big these dogs are, how powerful they are, but most importantly, how obedient they are. So we're going to talk a lot about their purpose and how they help us stay safe in our communities, how they help you guys stay safe. Anubis is trained in a couple different things. One of his primary responsibilities is to protect his handler, Deputy McBride. His other primary responsibility is to detect bombs. So he's usually out at Chase Field, the Diamondbacks games. He's doing sniffs, making sure that everything's safe for everybody there. And he also does tracking, so he can track for any bad guys that we might be searching, and he's just an incredible animal. Some of the questions that we usually get are, when do we get these dogs? Do we get them when they're puppies, or how old are they? And we typically get these dogs when they're about 2 years old, and they don't have a lot of training, but we get them and they have a lot of drive, they have a lot of excitement for the job, they have a lot of purpose for this type of work. And so we pair the dog up with the canine handler, and then they go to school together. So they go through what we call an academy, and this academy lasts about 9 weeks, and that's where this team gets formed and that bond starts getting formed. They learn all the things that they need to learn to do this job. We also have dogs that look for drugs, so if there's drugs in an area or drugs in a vehicle or a building, we have dogs that can do that as well. And we're going to show you guys a bunch of these different scenarios. So I'm going to kind of go over some of the scenarios that we're going to see today. So one thing that we're going to see is how these animals protect us. So we deal with a lot of difficult situations on a regular basis, and sometimes we need to use our dogs as protectors of us. So this first situation you're going to see is maybe a deputy has somebody pulled over, and they get into an argument and it turns physical, and the deputy's trying to fight and control the bad guy. Well, we have these tools on our vests and our duty belts. It's called a door popper. So what that means is it's a nice secret little button that we can press, and that door will just open up automatically, and then our canine partner's job is to come out and protect us. So what you guys are going to be seeing right here is this dog is going to pop out of the vehicle and chase down our bad guy and get him under control, so that way our deputy is nice and safe, and then we can go ahead and take that guy to jail where he needs to go. Another scenario you guys are going to be seeing today is narcotics detection, so drugs. So we've hid some drugs on a vehicle, and we want to show you how these dogs, how their nose works, how they're capable of finding these things in little tiny areas of a vehicle. And so you're going to see the handler bring their dog out and say, hey, I need you to go find some drugs for me. And the dog's going to search around the vehicle, and when it finds the drugs, it's going to show the handler that, hey, I found some drugs. And so it's usually going to sit, or it's going to sit there and stare, and it's going to be real still and real patient, because what it's doing is it's trying to get a reward. So you just saw Deputy McBride play tug toy with her dog, and that's the dog's reward. These dogs love biting things, they love playing with their handler. So we utilize that bond and that relationship where these dogs help us out, and then they get to play with us, and so it's really fun for them. We always get asked, how does the dog smell these things? How does their nose work? And it's pretty interesting. The theory we like to share with you guys is called the beef stew theory. And what that means is if you come home from school and mom or dad has a pot of stew on the stove, what does it smell like? Smells good, right? We come in the house and we're like, oh my gosh, mom or dad's got beef stew. It smells delicious. So we come in the house, we just smell some good cooking on the stove. Well, for these dogs, their noses are so strong, so powerful at detecting all the little different things. They would come into that same house and they can actually smell all the different ingredients in that pot of stew. They can smell the pepper, the beef, the carrots, the celery, absolutely everything, in addition to all the other smells that are in the house. So we really utilize their ability with their nose to do all these different things. Lastly, another scenario you're going to see is a tracking scenario, to where we're going to have these dogs do a track for us, and how their nose works, where they're going to pick up the scent of our bad guy and help us take, they're going to take the officer, take the deputy to the bad guy, to where we can take them into custody, take them over to jail. And then we have one other scenario we're going to do probably with Anubis right here, where we're going to send him into an area where our deputy can stay nice and safe, and we know there's a bad guy hiding probably in a vehicle or in a parking lot somewhere, and our deputies are going to stay nice and safe, and Anubis is going to use his nose to go out and sniff all these vehicles looking for human odor. And when he finds our bad guy, then he's going to go into an alert, and what that means is he's going to start barking and scratching and making a lot of noise, so that way the handler knows and the rest of the deputies know, hey, they found something over here. Canine Anubis has found our bad guy, so we can safely approach, and then hopefully at that time, there you go, so you can see Anubis barking right here. That's what he's going to show us. And then at that time, our deputies and our officers can approach safely and take our bad guy into custody.
You see a lot of these cars out in the street, but something that makes it a little bit different is this sticker right here that says Canine Unit. But what also separates this vehicle from another typical one that you see where they put bad guys in the back?
So some of the big differences obviously with the canine vehicle is these vehicles are not used for prisoner transport. We don't transport any bad guys in these vehicles because, as you can see, the whole back side is actually made just for Canine Anubis. So he's got his own kennel back here. It's got air conditioning. He's got fans on these windows, and there's bars on these windows. So even if the windows are rolled down, he's safe and he's secure in here. He's got a water bowl set over here on the side. He's got that bar at the back right there is part of the door popper mechanism that allows him to help out Deputy McBride if she needs him immediately. And all these vehicles are all equipped with what's called a heat alarm. So what that means is if for some reason this truck stalls or it runs out of gas, or there's a problem with the engine, well, we live in Arizona and this is very, very hot, especially our summertime. So we need the AC running constantly for these dogs to keep them cool. Well, if anything malfunctions and happens on the vehicle where it's going to start raising the temperature, we all have this app on our work phones that shows us exactly how warm it is in there. And once it gets above 80 degrees, 85 degrees, it sends a text message to us as the handler saying, hey, something's wrong with your vehicle, you need to get back to it. Anubis is getting hot. It also sends a message out to our boss. Lights and sirens go off, these windows roll down, that fan starts pulling in cooler air from the outside. So they're very, very safe in these vehicles. And we get that question a lot when we're out at lunch or something, someone sees that we left the dog inside the vehicle. These vehicles are designed for these dogs to be in here throughout our entire shift.
And typically, what is the type of training that you have to do, or for anybody out there that's interested in canine or the type of job that you do, what is something that you would recommend to become a canine officer?
So the first thing you have to do is apply with a police agency or the sheriff's office. We have two different routes that you can get into canine with the sheriff's office. You can start off as a detention officer, which is what I am, or you can go on the sworn side and be a deputy, which is what Deputy McBride is. Either way, either path that you take, it takes 2 years of basic experience. So you have to do that basic level job for at least 2 years. And then when an opening comes available, we put out a testing announcement for all of our officers or our deputies to apply for the position. And then you have to go through a testing process. And so that testing process consists of a few different things. Consists of a physical fitness. So we have to go out and exercise and meet all these time constraints because it's a very physical job working with these amazing animals. You have to go through a scenario test. So we test these people on their decision making and if their ability to do their job correctly, because we want sound decision makers in this position. And then lastly, we would go through an interview. So we interview with the sergeants and other canine handlers in this unit, and they ask us a bunch of different questions to determine if we're the right fit for this job.
How about the team? How many people, how many canines does the sheriff's office have?
Yeah, so we have 15 canine teams in our canine unit. In addition to just our canine unit, we do have some dogs that are part of some other specialty units like Lake Patrol. We have some bloodhounds. Their primary job is just tracking. So they're just tracking for lost children or elderly people or things of that nature. We have a couple other dogs that are in some other divisions. So about 23, 24 total dog teams from Maricopa County Sheriff's Office.